Okay, so I really apologize for not getting a video out last week. I'm actually going to combine week 9 and 10 in this video. I actually was really sick over the weekend and for the first couple days of this week, but I'm back. Again, learning some really new things. So I kind of wanted to split this video up a little bit and talk about the curriculum on one hand and then using the blended portion on the other. Week 10 ends our first quarter too, so that's going to kind of come into play for me here. Curriculum-wise, let me just say that I am loving this curriculum. Here's a highlight for me. In Math 2, Module 2, we've ended, and it's really talking about structures of expressions. We've spent Module 1 and 2 kind of talking about quadratics. I am shocked at the way they walked them through. It was amazing at how the way they walked them through the processes. By the end of Module 2, my students are with no problems. We did a couple reviews. They're completing the square. They're factoring quadratics. They are switching from standard form to vertex form to factored form. I cannot even express like how amazing that is. I mean, I used to teach completing the square, and it would take days to even get them to grasp it a little bit. But because of how they taught just factoring things and different things like that at the beginning of Module 2, when I got to completing the square at the end of Module 2, essentially we'd already done it. They just needed that one last step. It was awesome. It's the most effective way I have ever seen completing the square taught, like ever. Just the steps it gave me to right through the end. It was fantastic. It was seamless. And mind you, this is my kids' first year doing Common Core stuff. It's their first year learning math, kind of this different way. And so we were a little worried that in some ways they were going to kind of be behind. I mean, they started the MVP curriculum for Math 2, but they never went through the MVP's Math 1. We just, all of our kids who were in Algebra 1 or Geometry, we put into Math 2. And so we were a little nervous. I am so excited. It was so absolutely amazing. My Math 3 kids, we spent a whole stinking module on logarithms and they get it. Like, I have not been able, I don't feel like, I can teach logarithms and kids have kind of gotten it, but it's really the process. Like following this curriculum, the process is the things they have you teach first and then second. It just leads you to a lot of success and the kids really grasping things and the activities, the tasks essentially that they do with them. So helpful. Anyway, I cannot say enough about this curriculum. Experiencing a huge amount of success. Here I am at first quarter and I have never had grades that have looked like this. And let me just say, I have expected a lot of my students. It's not like I've dumbed things down. It's not like I'm lowering my expectations. Essentially, I've really raised my expectations. And I knew that it stood the risk of some kids really struggling. But I also knew it had to be done, especially with Common Core and with where we wanted to take kids. I had to do it. I had to raise my expectations. And so I did that with this curriculum of what I expected of them from the curriculum. A's and B's, so many A's and B's, it's not even funny. I think I only have, in all of my classes, I believe that I only have 2 or maybe 3 that are failing. 3 that are failing. One of them is just barely, and the other 2 are by a bit of an amount. And again, I've done probably 3 to 4 interventions for each of those students from the beginning of the year, like not last minute, but from the beginning. So those are kind of situations where I've really done everything I feel like I can do. But beyond that, I have like almost no D's, like maybe 1 or 2. Everybody else is in that A and B range, couple C's. I'm shocked. I'm totally shocked. The grades on their tests are amazing. No F's, no D's, unless they just don't take it or they don't even try. Almost all the grades on my tests are A's and B's. And mind you, my test expectations have raised too. I'm kind of doing tests differently. So so excited. And I feel like blending is playing a huge part in that. They have it at their fingertips all the time. They can kind of work at their own pace during certain sections of what we're doing. So anyway, I just can't describe how excited I am at the end of first quarter. Let me talk about blending a little bit. So here's some things I've really learned. I needed to restructure some stuff. I get to the end of quarter and I'm going, okay, my grade book isn't exactly the way I would like it to be. And so I did restructure some of my categories. I'm finding that, I think personally for me, I put in too many things. I had too many categories. You know, I had research project and I had a discussion board, and I realized by the end of first quarter, I'm way overcomplicating things. The kids are learning the content, and I don't need to create more stuff to try to drag them into the content. They already are. The curriculum and the blended portal is already doing that. I don't need to try to make up more stuff that's going to pull them in. So for me, that was exciting. I actually deleted all of my discussion boards this week. My kids are having so many conversations naturally, I really don't need to pull them in with a discussion board. For me and my class, I've noticed that. I also deleted my research project category and instead incorporated that into my test and quiz categories. I do make my tests and quizzes worth quite a bit. I was afraid to do that at the beginning of the year, but I did change that a little bit because the reality is they're doing what I wanted them to do. I don't need to make them worth less because I'm afraid some kids are going to fail. I mean, let's just be honest. We don't want to set our kids up to fail. And I knew the first year or two I may have to make some adjustments as I'm transitioning my kids to where I want them to be. But wow, they're doing it. They're transitioning for me already. And so it's kind of awesome actually to get to look at tests and go, oh my gosh, they got the content. Great. I could really give them a grade for this class just based on like their did they get the content? Did they understand what they're learning? Yeah. So super exciting. I am paring down my Brain Honey stuff a little bit because the kids are naturally engaging. The portal's pulling them in. Now that they're used to the curriculum for quarter 2, 3, and 4 and our remaining modules, I'm not going to be giving grades for the task portions. Those are just portions we work through in class, kind of like notes to help them understand the concepts. And so the kids and I have already talked about that. They're great with it. I'm great with it. So we're just going to be grading like the RSGs, which are the assignments kind of at the end of each section to test and see if they understood the concepts. And then the quizzes and tests. So I did rework my grading system a little bit. I did rework a little bit of my structure because I'm finding I kind of reworked it to where I thought I was going to be in a couple years because my kids are just getting there already. Super exciting. I've got several huge success stories. I mean, kids that they're normally D math students and now they're pulling A's and B's. And not one, not two, I mean a bunch. And that's not because I've dumbed things down. For me, I was kind of worried. I'm like, oh, Kelsey, are you making this, is the portal making it too easy because they have so much access to the assignment so they can do it several times? Is that kind of shortchanging things? And then I'm looking at my test scores and I'm going, holy cow, it's totally not. It's totally, just putting it at their fingertips. I remember when I played volleyball in high school, I read this stat that said for every 1,000 times you touch a volleyball, you get 3% better at the game. And I'm just reminded of that when I'm looking through this process. I'm like, because I'm allowing them to touch math, to engage math so much more often, their scores are just going up. I'm excited. I'm impressed. I feel like I'm going into second quarter way more structured, way more prepared, knowing a little bit more what to expect. I feel like we can be a little bit smoother and more effective second semester or second quarter rather than, first quarter we just introduced it and I'm still figuring some things out. But overall, I'm excited. Really excited too. I have several students that want to get on my blog. They've just been saying some cool stuff in class and I'm like, hey, could I post that on my blog? Would you guys be willing to say that? So be looking for that in the future. We're going to have some student comments and we're going to be videoing the classroom so you can kind of see what goes on in class and how we kind of do things. This week and last week, I also introduced a Kahoot video. So I created a quiz, like it's a game that we can all interact with on our iPads. It was an awesome tool. The kids totally got into it. Really helped my classes that are kind of behavioral problems. It was awesome. And they really engaged. So anyway, excited to talk to you more about second quarter. But first quarter has been a huge success, I'm learning so much. My students are learning so much, and that's the environment I want in my classroom. I want to learn and grow. I want them to learn and grow. I want us to walk out with content knowledge, and I really feel like that's what we're doing. So anyway, I will be recording a video next week, and can't wait to talk to you all again.